Okay, guys, I am sorry for not releasing anything these two last days. The first day, that was because I grinded my legendary ring out, which means more time to do these reviews. The second day, that was because the recording I did on Ranpo Kitan's 5th episode, which is this one, or not this one, it got corrupted, and that's sad because it was. I think that was my best review ever. That was so good. And then my friend came to visit, so I decided not to. Also, we got a drink, so I didn't feel that I could give you the perfect review. But let's talk about Ranpo Kitan's 5th episode, which is. It shows how flawed our justice system is and how sick people is. And also, really, really sad episode. Because, as you recall from the last episode, we basically has, I think he's called Mikami, the officer or super intel. He is basically telling his story and how he became 20 faces. And as soon as they said he had a sister, I knew that the sister would be the trigger. Because we hadn't seen her, so. But the way, man, basically we see how. But the way it triggered, I can understand him. I actually think that what he did to the guy who did that to his sister was justice. But let's talk about it. Basically, we get told, he tells how he started out as an officer to support his sister because they had lost their parents, and his sister, she wanted to be a designer. And it's actually very sad because her, as over the course, we see like what's called Mikami. I will call him that. It's maybe not his name, but just so you know, we saw him basically getting like he's so good at arresting people and stuff that he fastly gets promoted to super intel, and yeah, it goes really good. But we see while his sister, it's like the opposite. She basically gets like design upon design getting that what's it called, rejected. But and then we see a special arrest where the officer Mikami, he basically arrests a guy who has like a split tongue and he looks like a freaking snake. Actually, I think actually Mikami was about to shoot him, and seeing what that guy does later, I really wish he had done it because that guy is sick. Just like the concrete guy who also gets arrested. And both of them is like, actually the concrete guy is worse because he says like, I can't be put to justice for my actions because I'm insane. So they basically place on the insane card. And only one of them is getting, the snake guy is getting sent to an insane asylum where he escapes from by killing an employer. And what happens to Mikami's sister, it's really sad because she basically like basically he talks with her and she has just wanted to sign a silver price on her design dress. And Mikami is on his way home with a cake that reads, congrats, I think she's called Kakio, his sister, or Kubio or something, for the silver prize. And he's on his way home, where then he gets a call from his friend, who basically tells him that this guy has escaped and by killing an employer, and said that he is going to kill Mikami's family. And basically the officer, he runs home, he can't find his sister. They find her, and she has basically been, I'm not sure if there was anything other, but she was basically, from what I can see, hanged. And the worst part is, She was hanging in the dress that she won that silver prize in. And I can really understand why Mikami basically goes into a fit of rage and basically flips the table and smashes it around sometimes, and then becomes 20 Faces, where he, man, yeah, we know his what he did, and we also find out what happened to that snake guy. As I understood it, he basically cut off his hands and his legs, and then put him down in a bathtub with some chemicals that would slowly dissolve him, and the guy was unable to do anything to save himself. He basically just slowly got dissolved, and as Mikami said, it's basically so he could feel the same way his sister did. And I must say, I personally think that Mikami, he freaking did justice there, because that guy deserved to die. He was basically, I think he has killed like 3 people before he killed his sister, and he wasn't been persecuted because of insanity, which makes me question, are we allowing too many people to go free because of them playing insane, or is they actually insane? Also, the ending of this episode is really good, and I'm really happy, because you remember the concrete guy? Basically, we also learned something, because the officer Mikami, when he is taken away, he says that they haven't killed the 20 Faces, and that in the end we see like the fat guy, the concrete guy, he basically bumps into a guy with a hoodie and says sorry, and the guy with the hoodie has previously read that that fat guy had been released, and the fat guy then says, okay, what girl shall I kidnap today? And when he bumps into that guy and says sorry, he basically are stabbed, and then falls back, which causes the knife to basically cut him there, and the guy is revealed to have the 20 face mask and be the father of Satsuki, the daughter who he crushed into dust and mixed with the concrete to make a wall. And he basically stabs him repeatedly, and I think that's well deserved. I actually think he got out too what's it called, cheap. I think he should have been, what Mikami had thought, basically at least have his foot crushed or something. I think if he has had his legs crushed and then stabbed that way, I think he had, no, he's actually gotten out too cheap. But basically, it means that 20 Faces is vigilantes who takes justice in their own hands, because police officers can't, because they can't judge what you call it, insane people. And I must say, this episode, as I already said, it's freaking good, and I will recommend it to anybody, not only Danganronpa fans, but everybody. This is so good. This may be my anime of the season. Even for Fate Ilya. Yeah, that's good, but I still think this may be my anime of the season. So you guys have a good day, good night, wherever you are. And in case you haven't watched this yet, go watch it, guys. It's so fucking amazing.